Hello again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And I live close to the New York media, and I pay attention to it. And after this weekend, with the epic collapse that occurred on Sunday between the Jets and the Broncos, I'm sorry, the Giants and the Broncos. The Jets, forget about it. The Jets are a minor league team. If they're not even a college team. But the Giants and the Broncos, they had one of the epic games that you'll ever see. The Giants, of course, had a 19-0 lead going in the fourth quarter, and the Broncos just scored. Seemingly, they were unstoppable. Now, a lot of people are blaming the quarterback that you see here, Jackson Dart, which is absolutely ridiculous. Did he make mistakes? Yes, he threw that interception to the linebacker on that late in the fourth quarter. It looked like he may have stumbled or slipped. That's no excuse, but he's a fucking rookie. He's a rookie. He's going to make these mistakes, and you want him to make these mistakes now because this season's a wash. You're not going anywhere if you're a Giant. If you're a Giant fan, a Giant team, you're not going anywhere. Let this kid play. Let him have the next 10 games. Forget about win-loss. These are basically preseason games for this guy. He's going to learn how to play. And let me tell you something. If you watch him, he can throw the ball. He could throw it sideline to sideline. He could throw it in intermediate passes, short passes. He could throw it deep. He's got all the tools. He is a fearless quarterback. He reminds me, and take this with a grain of salt, of Brett Favre a little bit. He's got that gunslinger type attitude, and he can throw the football, and he's not afraid. And what his coaches are doing, and good for them for doing this, they're letting him wing it. They're letting him throw that ball. They're letting him free. Because a lot of these coaches, they have their bullshit little system, because these coaches now today, they're all specialized offensive coaches, or they're quarterback whisperers, and they want their quarterbacks to be almost like robots that can ruin a guy. Look what Kyle Shanahan did to Jimmy Garoppolo. And whatever your thoughts of Jimmy Garoppolo are, he was brilliant when he was winging it for the 49ers in 2017 when he first got there. He won 6 games in a row. And then Shanahan destroyed him, just like Shanahan destroys every quarterback that he gets. But Dable, unlike Shanahan, was very good at mentoring Josh Allen in Buffalo. And Jackson Dart is the only reason why Brian Dable will have a job next year. The quarterback, especially the quarterback play, is the most powerful thing on a football team. It's not the general manager. It's not the head coach. It's not the wide receivers. It's not this guy. It's not that guy. No, it's the quarterback. The quarterback is, along with the owner, the de facto co-owner of the team. Because a team will only go as far as its quarterback. Coaches get fired when they ruin quarterbacks. Coaches get fired when they choose the wrong quarterbacks. This kid is the right quarterback. The Giant fans, fuck the media. The media is always looking for a story. They're looking for somebody to blame. But Giant fans need to relax. 4 weeks ago, you would have done anything for a game like this. You would have done anything to be competitive. You were a disaster 4 weeks ago. You were a joke. Now you got a guy that can throw it. He can play, and he's fearless, and he wins games. Listen, the Broncos took the lead at the end of that fourth quarter, towards the end of that fourth quarter. 2 years ago, that game was over. This kid comes on the field, drives him down the field on 4th and 19 when most great quarterbacks can't get to completion. What does this fucking guy do? He completes the play. He converts on 4th and 19, and he scores a fucking touchdown with 33 seconds left in the game. Now, the Giant defense was gassed, and they got the penalty. Denver did. And they got the kid put up the kick, and he won the game with 33 seconds to play. The Broncos had 33 seconds to get down the field, and they did. And listen, hats off to them. The Broncos have a better head coach. Sean Payton's a better head coach than Brian Daboll. Daboll's not a good head coach at all. They changed the way when Neighbors went out, they got more creative. So they started using the tight end more. They started using the running backs more, and they started to develop these other lesser-known wide receivers. And this kid, as long as you're open, even if you're not open, he's going to throw it to you. He's going to get you the football. He doesn't care if the janitor's on the field. He's going to throw you the football. He's not going to think about it. He's going to react. And that's sometimes what you want out of a quarterback, because when quarterbacks start to think, they start to get happy feet, then they get sacked, they're afraid to make mistakes, and that's when they make mistakes or they get hurt, or a combination of both. This guy isn't like this. This guy has a Favre in him. He's got a little bit, people even said Josh Allen. I think more Brett Favre than anything else. Now, Favre had one of the greatest arms you'll ever see. This kid has a great arm too. Not on that level, though. But he is, now look, he is a gunslinger. And just like Brett Favre, he's going to drive you crazy, because there's going to be games where he's going to throw 4 touchdowns and look unstoppable. And then the next week he's going to throw 4 picks. That's you're just going to have to deal with that. But he's going to win you a whole lot more than he's going to lose. Now, the only concern Giant fans have, and I'm not a Giant fan, but if you have 2 concerns, it's the quarterback himself. How does he deal with New York? Because you look at him, he's got the hair, he's got the face, he's the quarterback of the Giants. Everywhere he turns, he's going to have ass in his face. We know this. And New York does something better than any other city in the world. It will take you, and it will chew you up, and it will spit you out. How many athletes have we seen? How many people have we seen come to that city and just get devoured? That's going to be a personal choice on him. Can he focus on football? It's going to be very difficult. The second concern you would have if you're a Giant fan is something that the Giants can control, and that's the head coach. Because Daboll proved, and he continues to prove, that he's just not a great head coach. He's not a game manager. He's not a game manager at all. He can take a quarterback, and he can take an offense, and he can do some very good things. But he can't manage a team. He can't control the whole team. He's not your typical head coach. He is not Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh. He's not one of those guys. And those guys always win. Daboll's mistake 3 years ago was when he had Wink Martindale, a tremendous, one of the best defensive coordinators in the league. And Daboll couldn't control him because Wink is an old-fashioned defensive coordinator. He's an alpha. And Daboll wanted full control. I mean, he's a head coach. He gets full control, but he couldn't he just couldn't mesh with Martindale. They wanted to kill each other. So what did he do? He fired him. And what happens the last 2 years? The Giants have been terrible. He has to do what a lot of these other offensive-minded head coaches must do. Give the defensive coordinator, and the Giants have a bad defensive coordinator. Get a defensive coordinator who isn't afraid to tell you to shut up, coach the offense, coach the quarterback. I'll handle the defense, and a lot of times they handle the special teams. And let me just do my job. A guy like Vic Fangio, look what Vic Fangio has done in Philadelphia. They've been this year, but last year, Vic Fangio was dominant in that Super Bowl. That was his magnus opus. Sirianni was allowed to have the offense. Sirianni was allowed to worry about Jalen Hurts, and he let Fangio do his job, and Fangio got him a Super Bowl. It was one of those dominant performances you'll ever see. They manhandled the Chiefs. Andy Reid, the same thing. Andy Reid was a very good head coach 25 years ago, but nobody looked at Andy Reid like he was going to be this unstoppable Hall of Fame guy who's going to have a wing in Canton built for him. He was okay. He made it to 4 consecutive NFC championship games with Philadelphia, lost 3 of them, and lost the Super Bowl where he was completely outcoached, even though Belichick and the Patriots probably cheated in that one too. But what did Andy Reid do? He got his quarterback. But more importantly than Mahomes, and yeah, more importantly than Mahomes, he got a guy who was almost exiled out of the league with a defensive coordinator. And that defensive coordinator turned out to just take over the team, take over the defense, let Andy have his way with the offense, and he built a very competitive bend but don't break defense. And that's why the Chiefs have been to 5 Super Bowls and won 3 over the last, what, 7 years, 8 years? That's the problem with Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan is also all these offensive QB whispering coaches. They're all terrible game managers. Shanahan refuses to allow his quarterbacks to blossom a little bit. He ruined almost every quarterback that he's worked with. He gets them all hurt. RG3, Jimmy Garoppolo. He went through 3 quarterbacks in Houston. They kicked him out of Cleveland because they couldn't stand him over there. And he had one great year in Atlanta with a seasoned quarterback in Matt Ryan. And they had like the 7th or 8th greatest offensive performances ever. But guess what happened? His ego in the biggest stage of them all, the Super Bowl, got to him. And he is now known. And it's Quinn's fault too, the head coach. But he's now known as the guy who blew a 28-3 lead. Not Mike Quinn. People look at Shanahan because Shanahan has blown double-digit leads in 2 Super Bowls now and an NFC Championship game against the Rams. He's gotten blown out by the Eagles. But he's proven that he cannot manage a game properly. His father could with John Elway, but he can't. And that's why he's probably never going to win a Super Bowl. And I'm a Niner fan. And yeah, I know that they're 5-2 and they're doing very, very well. Let me tell you something. That the wheels are going to come off pretty soon too. They have way too many. They're doing everything with smoke and mirrors right now. But getting back to Dart. It just goes to show you that football and now the NFL is just so wide open. There are no more great teams anymore. That one change, and in a month, your whole franchise is looking up. Because 4 weeks ago, this team was no better than the Jets. They were no better than the Cleveland Browns. Now, there is not hope. There will be expectations next year that this kid's going to have to live up to. And then we're going to see where he's at. Then we're going to see where Dable's at. Because I'm thinking now, and I didn't get to my point with Dable. I'm thinking now that the weak link here is not the quarterback. It's the coaching staff. But I don't think the Giants are going to want to get this kid already in Dable's offense and then fire Dable and bring in somebody new. It's a very, very slippery slope. It's a very, very thin line that you have there. You don't want to give this guy different coordinators, different coaches early on in his career. Next year, if there's a step back for Dart, I think Dable's gone. The defense coordinator will definitely be gone next year. How he had 3 guys rushing the quarterback with 33 seconds left in that final drive is beyond me. They don't use their personnel on defense properly. Their special teams is still very weak. But we see on offense, the Giant offensive line is playing better. the giant wide receivers and tight ends. They're doing the two tight end formations for extra protection and have guys open for them. That's playing very well. And even without Neighbors, they're moving the football. This kid is the real deal. You just have to keep him upright. You have to keep him out of those clubs, and you have to keep him out of Manhattan altogether. Get this guy married. Find a nice little country girl that he can marry and have eight, 9 babies with. You got to keep him out of that city. And if the time comes when a top level coach arrives and you don't think he's gone as far as he could with Dable, and listen, you might win 10 games with Dart and Dable, but you won't win much more. If a top line head coach comes around, you got to pull the trigger and get him in there with the top guy. Because this kid can be big. Let me tell you, there'll be a lot of Christmas gifts for Giant fans this year. Those boxes will have a lot of 44s and a lot of number 6s in them. Because those two guys they're frat boy. Frat boy autumn and frat boy winter are coming. It's going to be fun for this year because it doesn't matter if they win or lose. This is development year. What matters is keep them upright, keep them healthy, keep them out of that city. And you have to, if you're the front office, you might have to get rid of the GM too. But if you're the front office, if you're the owner, and John Mara is very, very ill, we pray for him. You have to really keep a close watch on how this coach coaches these games. He could develop the quarterback very well. It's the games that are the game management that would concern you. Because this guy is not, you're not going to find a lot of quarterbacks like him. Drake May is a lot like him. Drake May throws the best deep ball in the game right now. You have to protect him, keep him upright, keep him healthy, keep him out of Manhattan. And you have to evaluate the head coach to make sure that he's not going to hold this kid back and lose games like he did, because that game was not on the quarterback. Everybody's blaming the quarterback for that game. He put up 30 points. They were losing late in the game, and he drove that team to what would have been on any other team probably game-winning drive, which would have, forget about it. He would have been on every late night talk show in America. The coach doesn't know how to manage these clocks, and a lot of these coaches don't know how to manage these clocks. You look at games from 30 years ago, if you were up 10 points with 5 minutes left, the game was over. Now these guys, they can't manage these football games anymore. And these officials, like I said, 30 years ago, if there was a hint of pass interference, they kept that flag in their pocket. Now they throw the flag for anything. And that's why a lot of people think that these games are fixed. I'm starting to be one of them, because these games are they're retarded. But that's what they want in the NFL. They want points. They want excitement. They want drama. They're tied into gambling and fantasy. And that's where their downfall will happen one day. And there's my 2 cents. Today was a crazy day, folks. Crazy, crazy day. All right. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friends, Satan is always busy. Be a man. Have a backbone, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And just remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.